All right, good day, everybody. Steve Prziborowski here. Welcome to episode 44 of Reach for the Firefighter Badge. Episode 44 is going to build upon the last two episodes, 42 and 43, with more fire department oral interview tips for success. This will be part 3. So let's get going. As a reminder, my two websites, code3firetraining.com and chabotfire.com, have lots of great free information to help you be the best you can be. Also on my website, available two of the 3 books I've had published, great books to help you also be the best firefighter candidate you can be and learn as much about the process as well. All right, let's get going. Some things to know about the fire department before the interview. So we've talked about some general suggestions and success tips, but now things you need to know before the interview. Before the interview, some things to know. Know the actual name of the department. I know that's simple, but a lot of people screw it up. For example, like in the neighboring county, Alameda County, there's Alameda City Fire Department, a 4-station department that's surrounded by water next to Oakland. There's also Alameda County Fire Department. Alameda County does not serve Alameda City. 2 different departments, but I've heard stories of people in both departments saying the wrong name, people testing for Alameda County, and then they say multiple times, I want to work for the Alameda Fire Department. And if I was in that interview panel, I go, well, you're in the wrong interview panel right now, dude, or you didn't do your homework. So that's not good. So know the exact name, because most names are obvious, but not every department is a fire department. Some departments are fire rescue department. Some are fire and emergency services department. Some are fire districts. So again, go to the department website, do your homework, and know the actual name of the department. Not that you're going to get asked it, but you better let that name be known. I mean, good candidates mention the name of the department throughout the interview and tie in why they want to work for that department and how that will be a dream come true for them, sincerely, passionately. Also, know the fire chief's name and any key command staff members, like maybe deputy chiefs, division chiefs, assistant chiefs, whatever the department structure is. Now, you can't remember everyone's name, and you're not supposed to. You'll never get asked the question, what is our fire chief's name? Because we typically don't ask one-word answers, or 2-word in that case, of first and last name. We don't ask yes/no questions, because just because you know the fire chief is John Smith, does that make you a better candidate? Well, he did his research. Who cares? We can teach you the fire chief's name. We're going to ask you more questions to get inside your head and your heart. So think of those things, but it definitely doesn't hurt to know the name. Now, with the name, realize that if you can't pronounce it, don't attempt to screw it up, because it's actually quite embarrassing. Many names are uncommon. God forbid my last name, Prziborowski. Don't even attempt it. I mean, I don't expect you to attempt it. I expect you to screw it up, but I'm okay with that. But some people are not okay with that. But if you walk in an interview, the chief, whether it's with the chief or whether it's the first panel, if you say the name incorrectly or God forbid the wrong name, then they're going to be like, are you in the right room here? So it's good to know the names and faces, especially if you're going to work there. It's nice to know names sooner than later. It's good to know total number of personnel, sworn and non-sworn. Sworn means pretty much badge-wearing people: firefighters, engineers, captains, battalion chiefs, deputy chiefs, assistant chiefs, division chiefs, fire chief. Non-sworn people are sometimes administrative support staff, maybe administrative assistant. The term that used to be secretary is usually now administrative assistant, a little more professional, or other maybe positions that are considered civilian. Folks that usually wear the badge typically, and again, every department's different, typically are ones that have worked their way up the ranks. Whether they work at firehouse, whether they work in the office, whether they work in prevention. But there are some departments that, because a lot of line folks that work in the firehouse have no desire to work in the admin offices, sometimes there's civilians that fill those positions, such as fire inspectors or support positions. Obviously, like mechanics, it's hard to find a firefighter that's also a mechanic. So usually most mechanics are just mechanics. They usually don't wear badges. They're not considered sworn firefighters. They don't ride the fire engines, just like the firefighters don't wrench on the trucks unless it's minor work or unless they're obviously trained to that level. Like, we've got a couple trained mechanics that are firefighters. Great, but that's not their primary job. Know the type of department, because there's many different fire departments out there. I work for a special district. You wouldn't know that by the name. But some departments are cities, some are counties, like Alameda City Fire Department, Alameda County Fire Department. Some are districts. Not that it matters to you, but it does matter. If you're understanding what the department structure is, again, you're not going to get asked the question typically, but it's good to know what type of department it is. And again, that should be on the website, and good candidates are going to really do a deep dive into the department to know what they're getting into. Other things to know before the interview: know the department budget. Thankfully, in today's world of transparent government, budgets are public information. So we're not hiding anything. You should be able to go to a department's website and find the budget, or the city's website, because there are some fire departments that are special districts that don't really have an affiliation, say, with the city or with the county. They're a special district. That's the way they're structured. No, not good or bad. It's just the way it is. Well, if they're a special district like the Moraga-Orinda Fire District, just outside of Oakland, it's the cities of Moraga and Orinda that joined together to create the Moraga-Orinda Fire District. They really don't have a relationship to the city. They obviously coordinate, collaborate with the city and the county, but they're their own entity as a special district with their own board of fire directors. So their website would usually have their budget. So you got to look at the budget and understand, because the budget is awesome. Because the budget's awesome, Steve, you're smoking crack. No, I don't smoke crack and I don't smoke. The budget's great because a lot of these things I'm having you do research on, which are good things anybody should be researching, you'll find in the budget usually all the key information that you need. The budget usually has all this stuff. So that's a one-stop shop for getting information on a department. Plus it'll tell you where they're projected in the next year or two, maybe future growth, future stations, declining, meaning station closures, I don't know, layoffs, reductions, whatever, but the budget's a great resource. Many departments have strategic plans, master plans, business plans, and they post them on the website. Again, great documents that give you a full overview of the department sort of in a snapshot. So if a department does have these documents, as long as they're kept up to date, many aren't, they're great resources. So in your file, whether it's electric file or hard copy file, you got to have copies of this stuff that you can refer to before your interview. So when they ask you the question, what do you know about our department? Then you can give them some answers. Don't regurgitate stuff that you read, but be able to say it in your own words. Other facts and figures, number and types of first due apparatus. Like if they have 5 firehouses, what's the daily staffing? Meaning 5 engine companies on duty, 1 truck company on duty, and 1 battalion chief on duty. That would be probably standard for a 5-station department. And there's 3 people on each engine company, 4 people on the truck, and then the 1 battalion chief. Okay, know the numbers and type of first due apparatus. So if there's 3 on each engine, times 5, there's 15, 1 battalion chief is 16, a 4-person truck, that's 20 on-duty staffing every day, A shift, B shift, C shift. I mean, just basic facts you should know. And again, most of that thankfully is on the department website, or if they have a budget, strategic plan, master plan, even better, but usually the stuff's all there. What level of EMS care do they provide? Basic life support, EMT level, or advanced life support, paramedic level? Some departments don't provide paramedic level service, maybe just EMT level care. Some provide both EMT and paramedics. Some don't even provide any. Very few fire departments provide no medical care, but do they have ambulances? Do their ambulances transport? Like in some departments like Clark County, Nevada, which a lot of people don't realize, but mostly in Las Vegas Strip is not Las Vegas Fire Rescue, the city. It's Clark County Fire Rescue, Clark County Fire Department. So most of those big casinos on the Strip are Clark County Fire. And that's not right or wrong or bad or good. It's just the way it is. But anyway, if you're on the Strip and you see those yellow, because Clark County's yellow, fire engines and ambulances, EMS call at one of the casinos, you'll see an ambulance responding, but that ambulance is there with 2 people typically, but they're not there to transport. Usually the private ambulance company will transport. I don't know if it's AMR. I haven't done my research for Las Vegas recently, but whether it's AMR or whatever private company, the private transport provider. And that's confusing to some. You got a fire ambulance, why do you not transport? Well, because they'd be tying up the ambulances. That's the way their system works. I mean, that's not right or wrong, it's just the way their system works. Most fire departments ambulances will also transport, but every city is different. So do your homework. Anticipated growth or reductions. You know, are they planning to open up a station or 2 or close down a station or 2? I mean, key things to know if you're looking for a job and a career at that department, because there may not be a lot of career opportunities there. Maybe not a lot of promotions if it's young departments, or if they're, you know, they did a big hiring batch 2 years ago. I don't know. I mean, so things to look at. Don't get freaked out. Just understand what's going on so you can have a good educated conversation about the department if asked. And maybe anything unique, because each of our departments are unique. You put Oakland next to San Francisco, next to San Jose, next to Albany, next to Piedmont, next to Fremont, next to Hayward, all cities in the Bay Area. They're all different, and that's not bad. It's not wrong. It's just we are all different. So you should be able to know what makes that department unique compared to others in a positive manner. Again, you're probably not going to get asked the question, but if you can bring it out that, hey, during my research, it seems that you guys are a little bit different in a positive way because of this. Is that still true? Is the plans to keep it that way? You know, like Clark County, Nevada, they have yellow fire engines. That's different because Las Vegas is red. It's not, it is what it is. I mean, hey, it's still a fire engine. Be happy to be serving on it. I would, but maybe that's what makes them unique. But again, just know the uniqueness is to have an educated conversation. Some things to know about the jurisdiction. Now, I talked about the fire department. Now I'm going to talk about the jurisdiction. The jurisdiction may be the city it serves. Like the city of Fresno serves the Fresno. The fire department of Fresno serves the city of Fresno, but city of Fresno also serves some of the unincorporated pockets within the city, because there's some county pockets that are not incorporated, and there's some they don't serve, and then they used to serve some unincorporated areas around, but now they don't. So know the areas served. Like my department serves 7 different cities and some unincorporated areas. Again, just the way it is, but know our structure beforehand as much as you can about our jurisdictions. When I say things to find out about the jurisdiction above and beyond the fire department, know some basic statistics. Population, hey, daytime versus nighttime. Depending on the growth in the area, like in the Silicon Valley here, the population swells during the daytime because people come in from outer areas. Some people commute an hour or more, 2 hours or more to come to work here. But then at nighttime, they go back. So know the differences on populations. That may mean our call volume is typically more calls in the daytime because there's more people. And then at nighttime, when most people are sleeping, less calls. So know the populations, know the square miles, know the departments, the department budget, as I previously mentioned, but also the city's budget as a whole. The fire department budget may be this much, but the city's budget's this much. Know where the dollars go. If you do the math and you look at city budgets in most departments, fire department and police, which are public safety, so fire and police or public safety in general, the two of those usually make up anywhere from half of a city's budget to 3/4. Think about that. Half to 3/4 of a city's budget is usually public safety, fire and police. That's a lot of a budget. We're important, we provide a valuable service, but know where that money goes, because that doesn't leave a lot of money for other things. Know the type of government. There's typically 3 types of government out there. Council manager, where the city council has a city manager that runs the day-to-day activities. There's mayor council, there's commissioners, board of directors. Again, there's not one that's better than the other, but just know the structure for the city. Like in the city of Oakland, San Francisco, they have a mayor, or a strong mayor as it's called, that basically runs everything. The mayor hires and fires the department heads, the fire chief, the police chief, and the city council really has no power over the mayor. City council can tell the mayor, but the mayor can say pound salt. Whereas in the council manager format, the city council, usually odd numbers of folks, 3, 5, 7 or whatever, they're the ones that hire and fire the city manager or the town manager, and then that city manager hires and fires the police chief, fire chief, and department heads and so forth. Again, just know the structure so you can know how to get things done in an educated manner. Some other things more on basic statistics. Know the demographics, male versus females, different ethnicities. Know the major employers, because again, if the major employer is doing good, that benefits the city. But if the major employer leaves, like the auto manufacturer, imagine back east in the Midwest, when like Ford or some of these major automakers left town because some of that stuff went overseas or just shut down. That's a hit to the city's economy, because most cities rely on sales tax and property tax for revenue. And when people aren't buying things, or people can't afford their homes or to live there and they're moving out of the areas, that hits the city's budget, and it affects fire department, police department, everybody else's budget. So know the major employers, know where your bread's buttered. Know the target hazards. Target hazards are usually those big things that could cause a big dollar damage if there's a big fire or disaster. And if that employer goes out of business, like I mentioned previously, like say the Ford auto plant goes out of business. Like a couple cities away in Fremont, they have a Tesla factory. They make Teslas in Fremont. Well, if that building were to burn down and Tesla would say, you know what, sorry, we're moving to Nevada, Texas, or wherever, that's a huge loss revenue-wise. I mean, from the last time I heard, Tesla in Fremont is a great chunk of their city revenues, which is good when times are good. Or go to Anaheim, California, where Disneyland is located. Disneyland, I've heard numbers of, if Disneyland were to go away, I've heard numbers that's like 30 to 40%, maybe more, of the city of Anaheim's budget. So they rely on tourists coming in, Disneyland to pay taxes and everything else. So You may not care, but you better care, because when those businesses go out of business, they affect us literally. And it's the fact of life, because we have to have revenue coming in, which is usually taxes, and nobody wants to pay more taxes. So target hazards are also shopping centers, schools, big facilities with usually potential for large life or large life loss or dollar loss. Again, you don't get usually asked those questions, but when they ask you a question, if they do, like, tell us about the city or tell us about the fire department, then you can maybe show that you've done your research. Oh yeah, there's 2 colleges in town, there's multiple high schools, obviously multiple schools at various levels, a couple shopping centers, there's a major baseball stadium, a basketball arena that's also used for concerts, blah, blah, blah. Understand the politics. And this is not a Democrat versus a Republican or whatever, it's just every town, there's politics everywhere. And I used to think, hey, I'll get in the fire department because I hate politics. Well, there's just as much politics here there is everywhere else. So you got to understand, you got to be politically aware. And I say aware, I mean, you got to be aware of what's going on, or astute. Yeah, obviously you got to be very careful about maybe which side you take, but again, aware of politics so you can see things coming down the pipeline. You got to look at anticipated growth or reductions. Again, some areas are growing around the country and some are declining, you know, and it's a fact of life. And for those towns that are declining because of just people moving out of them, be very careful about taking jobs in those locations, because they may not be that stable. I mean, I've known people to get laid off from fire departments with 5 years on the job, and you're like, 5 years in the job, getting laid off? Yeah, guess what? The city just lost a major employer and they're laying off firefighters and cops with less than 10 years on the job. And you're like, how could that be? Guess what? It's expensive to run a city or a county or any government system. And when there's no taxes coming in, they can't afford employees. You know, do your homework, do your research. That's the key. So in the next episode, number 45, we're going to discuss more of my suggested oral interview preparation tips. Hopefully you're finding these beneficial in some capacity. If not, I don't know what to tell you. But hey, I'm trying my best to share some words of wisdom, words of advice, and experience from over the years. So as always, my contact information, social media footprint. Until the next episode, take care, be safe, and we'll see you soon.